Hello and welcome to the Healer Within podcast, where I share with you my opinions on health and healing. Please know that none of the information shared is meant to treat, diagnose, or be used as a substitute for medical advice. Please seek out a medical professional for all health-related concerns, and please remember you are responsible for your own well-being. Let's dive in. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. I am in my 33rd week of pregnancy, and I really wanted to come on here and share with anyone who would like to listen or might benefit from my own personal journey of what I've been using to keep my body working optimal, healthy immune system throughout these last several months, and what I have taken in the event that I have gotten sick, which has happened once, and it was pretty rough. It's pretty bad. It was not really sure, maybe like a standard flu, definitely a little bit more intense than a cold, but somewhere similar around those lines. Your typical fall, winter sicknesses that kind of spring back in, like right before spring, funnily enough. So this is everything that I use. And I know that there are a lot of concerns with different herbs and vitamins to be taken during pregnancy. And of course, this is something that I think everyone should discuss with their medical providers. However, I like to take a more herbalist approach to most things. And we do have to remember that a lot of those things aren't necessarily regulated. So we do have to be careful just in general, and especially during pregnancy. So, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Maybe there's something that you could benefit from, and you can share it with your healthcare provider and see if it's something that works for you. Maybe you won't benefit from any of the information, and maybe you'll just enjoy hearing what I do, and maybe what you do is different, and that is perfectly okay as well. So let's dive in. I'm going to name about several different things that I do and use, and they're in no particular order whatsoever. I just have them listed off from what I could remember. But the first thing that I like to use in my pregnancy is frankincense. So, frankincense, I use it as a type of topical oil, and this really helps with inflammation for me. And I always like to kind of get biblical with it when I talk to people about like frankincense, if they haven't heard of it or if they don't use it. I love the idea that the gift that the three wise men in the tale of Jesus being born was they gave him like frankincense, myrrh, and gold. And I talk about myrrh and gold in another podcast I'm going to do on just everything that's in my medicine cabinet. I typically don't use the colloidal gold during pregnancy, but I will go ahead and discuss that at another time during the other video for everything in my health and first aid medicine cabinet. So frankincense is really good for inflammation. And I mean, people have used it for different types of inflammation, like to reduce tumors. And it's really hard to find it to be taken orally, but what I think, this is just my opinion, that if it's a completely organic and like pure oil, and it's technically safe to be ingested, even though it doesn't say it's meant for oral consumption, then I find it safe to have in small amounts. So like I would put it like on the roof of my mouth. I haven't really done this during pregnancy. So let's talk about what I do with it during pregnancy though. And then we can talk about frankincense oil all in the other video when I talk about my first aid. So frankincense oil during pregnancy, I like to put it on my face just because during pregnancy, we can experience as women a lot of inflammation and redness and even acne. And I have found that frankincense works really well for me in fighting inflammation, redness, and acne. I have had very little breakouts my entire pregnancy because of this. I have noticed that when I wasn't using it, I would have breakouts, and then when I was using it, I was not at all. So what I do is I take the frankincense, and I put a couple of drops in my hand, and then I mix it with whatever other moisturizer that I want to use. So I've been using rosehip oil for my face. So I'll put rosehip oil in my hand, a couple of drops of frankincense, mix or start to rub that oil together, mix it up, and then I'll just apply it to my face morning and night. And I notice a huge difference. And it helps so much for redness in my face and acne in my face and inflammation. You could also put it anywhere on the body that has any type of inflammation, like ankles, wrists, etc. And I absolutely adore it. 10 out of 10 is one of my favorite pregnancy remedies for health and just overall well-being. So to help with immunity, so we're going to talk, I think that was the only thing I have for like topical as far as like inflammation during pregnancy and healthcare. The rest of everything that I use is all for my immune system and immune support. So I really love echinacea tea. I definitely don't drink it every day by any means. I just like to have it in the house. So I buy it in bulk just at an apothecary. I buy it by like the ounce, but you can also get it in like tea bags. I don't have a specific brand that I would suggest or use for a tea bag because I don't buy them, but you can definitely do that. And I like to usually just brew it and have some honey with it. You can put like a splash of milk or heavy cream or anything you want in it, honestly, but I just do echinacea tea and some honey. So that would help my immune system. And then I also use it if I start to feel like maybe I'm getting a little bit sick. So I usually only do this like if I know I'm going to be in a public space or if I'm traveling. So my husband and I do travel a decent amount. So when I know that we are going to be traveling and I am pregnant, I might take some echinacea tea or have some before bed, like the night that we're traveling, just to kind of really help boost my immune system. Because we're going to be like, when you're around a lot of people, it's a lot easier to get sick. And just being pregnant in general, your immune system is a little bit more compromised because your body is working overtime. So another thing that I like to really take is the Needed brand immune support. So that's Needed, and it's like a powder, and it tastes, I think I have it over here. Let me grab it. I don't know the flavor. Elderberry powder. So it's an elderberry flavor. So it's an elderberry powder, and it helps with immune support. It has zinc and elderberry in it. And you can take this like when you're pregnant safely, and because their brand is pregnancy, prenatal, and postnatal vitamins. So I also use their vitamins, but their immune support is amazing because it's great for the whole family. You can use it for kids and adults, and you can take it all throughout the year. It's definitely not just for when you're pregnant. However, it is so amazing when you are pregnant. I took some this morning. So when you're pregnant, it recommends that you take 2 scoops per your glass of water. And then when you're not pregnant, like if your husband's taking it or your girlfriend's taking it or you're taking it and none of y'all are pregnant, then you just take 1 scoop is what it suggests. But if you are pregnant, it does suggest 2, so you could probably definitely just take 2 as well. Dealer's choice. But I absolutely love it. I took some today because we are traveling, and I felt just a little bit like, the feeling like when you feel like you could possibly be getting sick, but you don't know for sure. It's just like the body feels a little bit tired and you're like, oh, am I just pregnant? Or is this possible? The immune system's a little exhausted. Because I will say that every single time I get sick, it's when I'm under rested or not well rested. So I haven't slept whenever I would work overnight shifts, or I just haven't been sleeping very well, or just like really pushing myself and not getting enough actual rest. My immune system hasn't had time to really reboot, recalibrate, and hold itself in high standards. So then when I'm presented with sickness or illness, or someone walks by me and coughs, I'm definitely more susceptible to getting sick. So I really love the Needed brand immune support. It has zinc and elderberry in it. Absolutely amazing. That has been one of my favorite go-tos during this pregnancy and keeping me healthy. So also the elderberry lollipops by Yum Earth Organics. Absolutely love these guys. I don't have them all the time. Again, it's like one of those things that you take like every once in a while. It's a nice little sweet treat, and it has elderberry in it, vitamin A, C, and E to help that immune system. It's also great if you already are sick and you just need something to like coat your throat. I also really love like echinacea or elderberry lozenges, but the elderberry lollipops from Yum Earth Organics with vitamins A, C, and E are definitely by far my absolute favorite. Okay, so I did get sick once throughout this whole pregnancy of 33 weeks, and it was pretty rough. However, I really kicked it out with making this particular tea. Actually, my husband made it for me every single day, which is very kind of him. 3 times a day. And I know that seems like a lot to like be drinking like 3 cups of tea a day, but it is so much better for you, at least I think, for your health and body than just like over the counter medicine. Like I don't have any of it in my house. And we'll talk about that as we move further into talking about like first aid in a different podcast. But I don't keep any typical, I guess you would call it like drugstore remedies in my home. Everything that I have and use is all either herbs, like teas, tinctures, homeopathic remedies, everything that I use for sickness. You know, aside from like if I needed like an antibiotic, I definitely am pro like whatever the body needs, the body needs. But a lot of the stuff I think can be healed just with what we eat and with herbs and teas and different things. So the tea that I made or had he made is almost like a natural antibiotic. So I was really suffering from, I had a sore throat, I had a stuffy and runny nose, lots of congestion, just like a head cold, flu, I just felt awful. Like I just felt absolutely awful. And losing my voice, it was just a whole situation of sickness. So I made a tea, or he made a tea, and I start by getting like a whole lemon. So you want to like cut the lemon and you squeeze the lemon into a glass of water and you want to heat that. You can also make it like over the stove if you want to make a lot of it. That's fine too. But it's in it is going to be fresh squeezed lemon, ginger. So you can use like a ginger tea bag, or if you have fresh ginger, you can grate some up in it. Honey, apple cider vinegar, cayenne pepper. I used a cinnamon stick, but you can also just use cinnamon powder. And that's about it. So that was lemon, ginger, honey, apple cider vinegar, cayenne, and cinnamon. And it does not taste good. Especially with the apple cider vinegar in there. It is just honestly not the best. But it really does work, or at least it worked for me amazingly. I knocked my sickness out within like 3 days. So I would drink this first thing in the morning, and then probably about every 4 to 5 hours, I would say I would have a cup, because I drink some first thing in the morning when I woke up. Like I would lay in bed and have my tea before I would like get dressed and start my day, because it really helped with like the decongestion, and I noticed a huge difference when I drank it. And then I would have some around like late lunchtime. And then I would have some like right before bed. I would also have a cup of peppermint tea once a day when I was sick. So I would do the lemon, ginger, honey, apple cider vinegar, cayenne, cinnamon tea 3 times a day. And then I would also have a cup of peppermint in the evening time. And all of that kind of put together with having like the elderberry lollipops and lozenges really helped me throughout the sickness that I've had during this pregnancy. And I haven't been sick since, thank goodness. And I've been taking the immune support with zinc and elderberry, just really helping build up my immune system. So that is what has been working for me. I also really love turmeric tea. So the thing about the turmeric tea is that you want to make sure it has black pepper in it, just to activate the anti-inflammatory properties of the tea itself. And you can get like the instant ones. You can get it in a tea bag. You can make it yourself. You can also put it in a French press. If that's easier for you, sometimes I put a lot of tea in my French press. I don't use like the little tea diffuser things that you can get, like where you put it in a little container and then dip it in your cup. I do not do that. I typically will have like I have a small French press and I put all of my herbs and stuff in it, and then I pour the hot water in it, and then I put the top of the French press on it, and that's how I make like all of my tea. So I definitely would also suggest the turmeric tea because it worked so well for me. I absolutely love turmeric tea for inflammation. It also just really helps with the skin and the glowing of the skin. It just feels good. It's a really good tea to have. Now, some of the teas, so I do have a one turmeric tea that does have chicory in it. So I really avoid taking that one. It's by like the Harley and Sons. It's one of my favorites. However, because it does have the chicory, it does have a note on it like if you're pregnant, like please consult your healthcare provider. It's because things like chicory and chamomile and a few other things like in large amounts can cause uterine contractions. But again, like you just use it at your discretion and like talk to your healthcare provider and see what's best for you. And if what's best for you is not using it at all, then there you go. For me, it's like more so everything in moderation. I have drank chamomile tea throughout my pregnancy, but I have a lot of friends who choose not to drink it because of those reasons. My view is as long as it's in a very small amount. Like I would never drink like multiple cups of chamomile tea in a day or back to back, like every single day, have a cup. But like once a week or something, if I feel like I absolutely would benefit from it, if I absolutely need rest and sleep and I'm really struggling, I don't mind having a little bit. So that's the only thing I would suggest with the turmeric tea is checking to make sure it doesn't have the chicory in it. And if it does, just really talking to your healthcare provider and thinking about like if it's something that you even want to try, because it is one of those things that's kind of like, well, it could cause uterine contractions, but will it? I don't know. So that's just kind of something you'll have to figure out, like, at your own discretion. So I hope this has been very helpful, everyone. And I'll really quick just name the things that I kind of went over for pregnancy and health before we hop off. And that was frankincense, echinacea tea, elderberry lollipops by Yum Earth Organics with vitamins A, C, and E, the Needed brand immune support with zinc and elderberry, the lemon ginger honey apple cider vinegar, cayenne and cinnamon tea, turmeric tea, and I also had peppermint every now and again. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful and blessed day.